With greetings, I proceed the discussion on this famous poem, Background Casually. Now, it is just like a colorful album. You turn over the pages and you come to know about poets' different kinds of experiences. And we have, categorization in different parts of this poem, and then we would coming to the important points like the poet's passion for philosophy, poet and poetry, and we would also discuss his total commitment to India when he points out and learn to laugh again at home. Yes, this is the focal point, how to feel at home. And have you noticed, the students, that how he has depicted the picture of Indian society, the society in which he has also mentioned and also described the kind of attitude of the people, negative also. I mean, particularly in the lines in which in the beginning, where he says that the picture of people of and his classmates also, see their attitude when he was ill treated by them, and even the point in which he has mentioned that he was beaten by the particular boy, and because of criminal discrimination according to the poet. Now the point here, and see, there is sort of, when we have depiction of this experiences, I mean, at the time, noisy day, I see that this line, I used a knife. So the reason why he had become violent, this is also associated with child psychology. When the poet, in the childhood, when in his school days, when he was ill treated, neglected, and rather cruelly uh, humiliated by the particular people, by the from they hail from different communities, as he has mentioned, Hindu lads and Muslim, very frankly and very honestly, with his revolutionary spirit, he has, without any hesitation, he has mentioned his experience, because he has undergone that agony. That's why he says, noisy day I used a knife. And then now the point is that when he used a knife, because the violence he has mentioned here, he was compelled to, use this. Now the here point is that then he is switching over from this violence to religiosity and spirituality is the point. I mean, the idea, this one of the important themes in this poem is that, see, if there is some kind of say deterioration of moral values in the society because of say communal discrimination, or because of hegemony of particular community, or any kind of say alienation of particular people, marginalization, whatever, I mean, he has mentioned. But the here focusing, see the here the significance of spirituality and religiosity is universally established, though here, as at the time, as a child, he might not have that much say significance or importance for that. Yet see the he is his parents, and see the fellow people at the time, Jews, others, they thought that because of deterioration, because of degeneration, what was significant for him? Yes, if they see the moral, I mean, there must be, you see, the instilling moral values, that is, and transmitting that some ethical values in the society. This is the point here. And could I perhaps, Rabbi Saint, then he was exposed to certain sermons and gospels, and so that he would, Rabbi here, I mean, it's a priest, Jewish priest, so that he would be, and he would be in a way leading a better life. He would be leading a better life, a spiritual life, religious life. And but the poet at that time, because this was as casually he has, casually, this is background, his, childhood, his education, upbringing, experiences, but casually he has been depicting here. Have you noticed it? But this was not planned at that time. Whatever he happened to meet. And then, then more I searched, the less I found. So some, with honestly, he has pointed out this, that he could not gain some kind of achievement, or he could not get satisfaction, contentment, and therefore the now final goal that there he would find solace is the philosophy, poetry. And yes, through poverty he has learned a lot, through struggles, hardship during his life, as he mentioned earlier in these sections. Now, student, is very concise manner, when we would switch over to the theme of commitment and Indianness, and this is what exactly that I would say, I see this is the best way of studying this poem for your better understanding, because we would come to other important aspects. Then see the in this way, this see the it's a sort of a lengthy autobiographical poem. It's as if you're turning over the colorful album of Nizam Askell, and we come to know about the part one that we discussed earlier. So childhood days, just a review, so that we would switch over to other, and we would also discuss some see the aspects like the biasness of the people against him. This is what he here, we cannot miss this point. And then that is, and the spiritual necessary, I mean, instilling some religiosity is very important point here, that you must notice here. And when he, he had undergone some bitter experiences of communal discrimination. Okay, fine. Now then we come to the point in which yes, second part is also very important. Now what are, see the in the second part, it is as for first part, the poet's background, as title itself is suggestive, the poet's background, that is childhood days, we come to know about it. And then now youth. Now this is even the second stage that he is made, it is also the state of just confusion, he has pointed out. Now here this poem is also reminiscent of his poem titled In India, and this was actually published in the exact name. But so far as the picture of Indian society is concerned here in this context, exposition of urban realities. And see, if you remember, I discussed this, that there is, it's a reflection of bare realities. Poetry is, in a way, a reflection of bare realities of life. So how, he was compelled to confront with that. And then, that, in a way, lead to growth of his mind, and then how he is towards attaining maturity. So this exposition is very, and shaping the character and personality of Nizam Askell, going towards the final goal of total commitment to India. And then his passion, intensifying his passion for poetry and philosophy. And so I mean, all these points, and yes, at the same time, paradox, in which we have some kind of negative connotation in with the he is, giving the picture of Indian society. Now what kind of picture? I mean, the people, I mean, not glorifying, or when he talks about commitment, this, see the, which kind of picture you can also, I mean, cite this here, heat and dust, and they see the misery and plight of the people, this, and the children and animals, or I mean, animals. Also, I mean, the kind of attitude people, very minute observation made by the poet. And I think this is very, very important quotation, students, and you can quote it when you write your answer, Nizam Askell as a modern poet, or other answers. And even when you write your, say, views on background casually, even at the time you can quote. I mean, this is exactly, I mean, similarity between the two poems, when he points out that always in the, yes, this is the point here, sun, see the scorching heat, and very, acute observation made by the poet. Here, scorching heat, and see the kind of, we have atmosphere, climate of in India, and beggars, and everywhere. See, if you go anywhere or everywhere. You will be surrounded by, even in the temples and other places and public places. So see the picture of beggars. It's a very pathetic picture, and hawkers, and see the pavements and sleepers. So this kind of, all these realities, and we have to accept it, that this is exactly the Indian, reality. And he also hutment and dwellers and slums, as he talks about slums even in his other poem like Island. And then born, yes. Now this is the point here. Actually, I want to highlight. Now the poet actually the current issues. See the poem. It is relevant even today. All these poems, and Nizam Askil, as this, Hymn in Darkness, it was published in 1976. So two important problems prevailing in the society, and see the evils, malpractices, and what, yes, 2 point, burnt out mothers. So the problem of dowry, yes, this is what the bare, harsh reality even today in advanced technology, this is globalization, highly educated people. Still, we have been facing these kinds of problems. So, being a vigilant, cognizant poet who has been highlighting the composite culture of India, yes, but we cannot carry out this fact. We cannot avoid this. See the burn of mothers. It's a very pathetic picture. See the element of empathy we must have. How to, bring about the change in the society, and the frightened. See the kind of traumatic situation these, women, they might have undergone in verges, molestations, and see all this print media, electronic media, it is full of such kind of, news. We have wasted child, and this discrimination, gender bias, and all these tortured animals also. So the point is there is a dire need of human sensitivity. So this, that, yes, and that's why here also, see, this is the purpose of writing poetry. The, when the poet, he points out, and in this particular section we have, so this society now in this, see, too, when we talk about the points here, he has also, highlighted the struggles due to poverty. The poet, he was compelled to work in a cargo ship, and these are, we can even categorize this in several parts. When he talks about his life in London, is abroad, in particular this section, and just all the points he has encapsulated just in a few lines, okay, in this stanza. And he has also, described his state of confusion over there, and he, his struggle, his hardships. He had to face some kind of, adverse situations, circumstances. That's why he's, and failure and frustration, even in marriage also. Yes, he has pointed out in certain lines here. Therefore, when he was his life, city life in London, you must have, and this is what exactly he has mentioned here every year in the, say, in the London, just in few lines he has women and all marriage, and just see in one line. And there is no need of, according to Nazim Askil, describing it. But yes, the self-criticism when we talks about that, and also he has confessional poetry. He has confessed that he was fool. He himself, points out that his bitter experiences and all that, women and all that, he had failed, and see, so his wrong decision, he speculation, it's a sort of, speculation of his wrong decisions also, when he talks about, yes, but when he was in London, his friends, he could not afford, he was so poor, as he has been, discussing poverty and all that, the sufferings, all that, because of, scarcity of money, and he could not afford that. But his friend helped him, and he went there, and but there now, then, he was craving for, India at that time. So this belongingness, and just to come back to India, he was compelled to work in cargo ship. Now, what is cargo ship? Some goods being carried over there, and what kind of job? So, without any hesitation, even an ordinary job is also important. If you have this kind of spirit that you must work hard, so just to earn money, he worked in a cargo ship of goods, carrying goods, of cleaning and scrubbing. Okay, so this is very important event in his. So, see the various incidents and events in which in this part 3. So first part, childhood days. Second, in his youth also, we can categorize just for your better understanding. And the point which is, I think, the focal point is here is the poet's complete identification with India. Yes, learn to laugh again at home. So he was craving for the, say, soil of India. And he in London, it's a utter confusion. As you know, in point wise, I have here mentioned, and it has been mentioned here point wise, the state of utter confusion, failure, his exasperation, means he was so upset over there. And without any hesitation, very honestly, as in autobiography, this is one of the important characteristic features of autobiography, that honestly and transparency he has discussed throughout, and his struggle due to poverty and all that, his and the negative picture of Indian society. So the part third, we come to switch over to that. This is very, very important. I think this is the prominent part of this entire poem. And what is that? The poet's complete identification with India. So in the second part, he was in London, his confusion and his bitter experiences in just basement room. He was compelled to stay there. Then his failure and frustration and exasperation, upset and annoyed and all their struggles. And then Indianness. This is the actually goal of his life, that leading his good life, harmonious life, congenial life in the soil of India, his nation. And therefore he has mentioned his passion for the nation, his bondings and belongingness. And say, for when it's a sort of say composite culture. And now another point, speculation for, yes, the point, wrong decisions also. Now here again, in very, very systematic, organized way, we can here discuss 5 important events. This is what in this poem is a narrative technique he has here applied. And narrative technique, yes, and very simple colloquial language, and the sort of album in which series and chains of events and incidents, his experiences, different kind of. So here 5 points here. First point is the Indian people lacking manners. This is what he has pointed out. Second point, failure in his marriage. And the third, struggle of changing jobs, different jobs. And then fourth point, in which he's about his ancestors also. He shared the knowledge of his ancestors, what kind of job, crushing the seeds just for earning money. So this was the struggle at that time. So he has become poet. Feeling of nostalgia is also there, and he became reminiscent. Okay, so 2 important here elements we have. And then when he became reminiscent, his father said stories about the war, and his ancestors, one of his ancestors, uncles, he fought war in the Boer War. Okay, come to the text. Very important points as we have. When he talks about his total commitment to India here. So this, yes, when we were discussing the what kind of attitude Yes, positive attitude. Now he's switching over from that. His total, even then, he had to face struggles, hardships in his life. But see, the opportunities, yes, you can make the best use of these opportunities, whatever opportunity. So this positive, the poet is switching over to speculation and yes, positivity of that is new dimension in new modern poetry. So here in this, the first and the second Nizam Askell's poem, the point here that I would like to here focus that yes, when he talks about the picture of Indian, now see the ill-mannered, lacking manners when they knock at the, in very humorous sense of humor also, they would speak in top of their voice without being considerate and without having this much of sense that how to talk. And see this, so the urban, even also some villagers, countryside people, I mean maybe because of lack of education or whatever he points out here. And then all these points, 5 points is encapsulated in one stanza like structure, the section, when but we are now also, and yes, when he talk about his ancestors also, so what kind of job his ancestors they used to have? Seeding, yes, crushing the seeds. This is very important when he became reminiscent, feeling of nostalgia. I mean, they see his alien, and this is the word of alien. I mean, they being Jews, so these kinds of job they were compelled to do. And all the image of bullock covering the eyes when they're taking round the circles for crushing the seeds in this machine. So this, the poem became reminiscent because he wants to describe that this was the background, and this was the the background of these ancestors. And yes, another in which his father used to tell story about the his one of his family members, ancestors, his uncles, who used to fight in war. And this was Boer War. It was this was fought between Africans and Britishers. So this is, and yes, there is throughout kind of feeling of apprehension also. He was feeling of apprehension or insecurity at that time, and how to take decisions, and see the problem of earning also. So this, and therefore he points out that in that yes, the dream, once in that dream that he saw that he was imprisoned in and his hands and all that they were bound by. So this is the feeling of apprehension. But now, what is where he can get final solution? Yes, poetry. Poetry is the final goal for the poet, and the remarkable quality, the remarkable spirit, the remarkable or tremendous, admirable, commendable treasure and prize of his life, and which will be a great contribution to the posterity. Yes, this is the point we'll continue. Thank you.